are Team 3 that is made of Cesar, Sofia, Imperia, Andrea, Danae, and me. And we will talk about Halloween.
Halloween's origins date back to the Celtic festival of Samhain. The Celts, who lived 2,000 years ago, mostly in the area that is now Ireland, the United Kingdom, and North France, celebrated their new year on November 1st. This day marked the end of summer and the beginning of the dark, cool winter, a time of year that was often associated with human death. The Celts believed that on the night before New Year, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred. So, on the night of October 31st, they celebrated Samhain, when it was believed that the ghosts of the dead returned to earth. During the celebrations, the Celts wore costumes typical consisting of animal heads and skins, and attempted to tell each other fortune, because the Celts believed that with the presence of otherworldly spirits made it easier to make predictions about the future. These prophecies were important to survive to the long and dark winter.
All Saints' Day. On May 13, 609 after Christ, Pope Boniface IV dedicated a painting in Rome in honor of Christ's martyrs, and the Catholic feast of All Martyrs' Day, established in the Western Church. Pope Gregory III expanded the festival to include All Saints, as well as All Martyrs, and moved the observance from May 13th to November 1st. 1000 after Christ, the Church made November 2nd All Souls' Day, a day in honor of the dead. All Souls' Day was celebrated similarly to Samhain, with big parades, big bonfires, and dressing up in costumes as devil saints and angels. All Saints' Day was also called All Hallows, and the night before it to the traditional celebration of Samhain in the Celtic religion began to be called All Hallows Eve and eventually Halloween.
Okay. Now I'm going to talk about how Halloween came to America. The celebration of Halloween was extremely limited in colonial New England because of the rigid Protestant belief systems there. Halloween was much more common in Maryland, in the southern colonies. Um, at the beliefs and customs of different European ethnic groups, the American Indians measured a distinctly American version of Halloween began to emerge. The fifth celebrations include play parties, which were public events held to celebrate the harvest. The neighbors would share stories of the dead and tell each other's fortunes, dance, and sing. Um, Colonial Halloween festivities also featured the telling of ghost stories and mischief making of all kinds. By the middle of the 19th century, annual autumn festivities were common, but Halloween was not yet celebrated everywhere in the country. In the second half of the 19th century, America was flooded with new immigrants. So these new immigrants, especially the millions of Irish fleeing, The Irish potato famine helped to popularize the celebration of Halloween nationally.
Borrowing from European traditions, Americans began to dress up in costumes and go house to house asking for food and money, a practice that eventually became today's trick-or-treat tradition. In the late 19th century, there was a move in America to move Halloween into a holiday more about community and neighborly get-together than about ghosts, pranks, and witchcraft. At the turn of the 20th century, Halloween parties for both children and adults became the most common way to celebrate the day. Parties focused on games, food of the season, and festive costumes. By the 1920s and 1930s, Halloween had become a secular but community-centered holiday, with parades and town-wide Halloween parties as their ritual entertainment.
At Halloween parties, all guests must be dressed up as a fearsome character, such as a witch, a mummy, a ghost, or a clown. There is a food or drinks of all a kind, sometimes decorated with the theme of Halloween, such as cupcakes or jellies decorated with pumpkins or Frankenstein. The decoration of the party can be with many cobwebs dim light accompanied by red, purple, dark blue lights to create a dark atmosphere. There is music to dance of all kinds, or sometimes contests are held to reward the best costume. The best thing about these parties is that you can enjoy them with your family or friends every year.
The American Halloween tradition of trick-or-treating probably dates back to the early All Souls Day parade in England. During the festivities, poor citizens will beg for food, and families will give them pastries called soul cakes, in return for the promise to pray for the family's dead relatives. The distribution of soul cakes was encouraged by the church as a way to replace the ancient practice of leaving food and wine for roaming spirits. The practice, which was referred to as going a souling, was eventually taken up by children who would visit the houses in the neighborhood and be given ale, food, and money. The tradition of dressing in costume for Halloween has both European and Celtic roots. On Halloween, when it was believed that ghosts came back to the early world, people thought that they would encounter ghosts they left their homes. To avoid being recognized by these ghosts, people would wear masks when they leave their homes after dark, so the ghosts will mistake them for fellow spirits. On Halloween, to keep ghosts away from their houses, people will place bowls of food outside their homes to appease the ghosts and prevent them from attempting to
For your attention and enjoy this